Welcome to the Soffy Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the extra time show for Everton 1, Leeds 0. Everton make it 2 wins out of 3 under Sean Dyche and win an absolutely crucial game. Let's be honest, it was almost like a 6-pointer at this stage. Let's be honest, much needed win. I'm here with Paul, ready to look back on, weekend that could have gone far worse. Really, certainly, like we did our bit at least.
Yeah. The results from all the teams around us all went against us practically. So if we had not won that game, then we'd have been in deep trouble. We're still in trouble now, and there's a long way to go, and the job is nowhere close to being finished. But
No way,
that
mate.
3 point, that win felt massive. That felt just as big as the Arsenal one for me, if not bigger. Arsenal,
Bigger for me.
yeah, Arsenal are obviously top of the league, aren't they? And I think people were more hopeful that we could get a win rather than this Arsenal game, because people were just I think for the Arsenal game, everyone was just hoping for a performance sort of thing. Whereas signs that we could build on something. Whereas with this game, it didn't matter how good the performance was; we just needed to win. Especially with all the Southampton and Bournemouth and everybody winning around us, it gets us out the bottom three. Not by a lot, but it's psychologically a big boost to be up to 16th now. We've got another home game on the back of it. If we win that home game, we stay out of the bottom three. And is it likely we can stay out the bottom three from now until the end of the season? Probably not. We'll probably end up back in there at some point. Yeah, we'll probably end up back in there at some point, even if it's just on goal difference or games played compared to other teams. But just to finally get out of there, I think it's just let everyone take a bit of a breath, hasn't it, and feel like the task is on. The escape is well and truly underway. So just such a relief to win, and I don't care how it came about. The goal was, we'll get to it, was freakish, but just to come away from the game with 3 points, oh my god, I was bouncing all the way back to the train station personally.
That was excellent. I was one of them. I went to the protest before the game, but I didn't have a ticket for the actual game. So literally I walked back to town, literally just walked along the docks and just tried to avoid looking at my phone for the next 2 hours because I couldn't bear like what was going on. I was just like I couldn't. And once I found out we scored, it was even worse. I was like biting every nail.
Yeah, you're scarred, aren't you? After what's happened this season, the amount of late goals that we've conceded and lost points. Oh, Jesus. The game itself, mate, you were walking back to back home, obviously, as the game was being played. But did you see any of the highlights? Because Leeds, for me, were the worst team that's turned up at Goodison.
Yeah, from what I've seen of like the extended highlights and also what people who went the game said, they were pretty wretched from what I've heard. Like a lot of people were saying, like
wretched doesn't do it justice. Appalling. I thought, and this is not a dig at Leeds or anyone like that. I was very surprised that he played that poorly. I thought, I know they're down there as well, and they finally got rid of that Jesse Marsh, who wasn't very good. But you look at some of their players on paper; they're seasoned internationals. They've got a few Americans who played in the World Cup. They've got Bamford, I know he's had his injury problems the last few years, but when he's fully fit, he's a solid Premier League number 9, isn't he? And that lad who was on the left wing, who's absolutely rapid, who's up against Coleman.
He was the one. Like apparently, Coleman had a good game up against him, and he seemed to apparently
he handled
got a little bit rattled, from what I'm aware. Like apparently, like didn't he like touch a ball boy or something?
I don't know whether it was.
Wound them up or something.
I think it was. I think he had a bit of a ruck with McNeil. I think I'm thinking of the right incidents in the first half. McNeil down towards the park ends, right next to the away stands where the Leeds fans are.
McNeil, I think Tyler Adams tried to throw him in.
Was that Tyler
Adams? Yeah,
that was Tyler Adams. Yeah, no more. Basically, yeah, it got a bit feisty, and all the players came, steaming in and pushing each other and trying to separate each other. And there was a few yellow cards each way. I think Takore and McNeil for us, and McNeil and Tyler Adams and someone else for them. But yeah, getting back to my original point, I know that they're not having a good season and they're in just as big much trouble as we are, if not worse now. They've dropped into the bottom three. On paper, they look like they've got players who would cause problems for even really good sides. And was it the other week they went to Old Trafford and they played Man United.
He threw away a 2-0 lead at one stage, didn't he?
Yeah, they were 2-0 up and they looked good for the 2-0 lead as well. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I know United ended up clawing it back and it was 2 points dropped for Leeds. But I remember thinking, oh, that doesn't bode well for when we're going to play them in a few weeks. Are they going to pick up form at the exact wrong time? But no, they look like a completely different side. They look like a side that where best way to sum it up, they look like a team like coming to play us in the League Cup on a Tuesday night in September from League Two. Do you know what I mean? Those sort of early cup
a lot of people
runs you get.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been calling like Jesse Marsh, like Yank Lampard and stuff, and I did see resemblances of Lampard's Everton in their performance.
Jesse Marsh he's gone now. It was whoever their caretaker is. I think they're going to hire
or something his name is, but
yeah, I don't know who he is. No one else does either, and you're not going to know who he is in the next few weeks when they hire someone. But I don't necessarily think Jesse Marsh was the problem with them. I don't think he's very good as a manager. Whether he's at the same level as Lampard, who knows? I don't follow Leeds enough to know exactly where Jesse Marsh's level was. But basically, the last few weeks, Leeds looked better under Jesse Marsh than they did after they sacked him and put this caretaker guy in. Because against us, I can't stress it enough, they were terrible, really terrible. I don't know whether that's just their level, who they are, and a couple of their players who were mentioned, who you think would be, cause problems for us, are just overrated, or whether it was just they had a very bad day at the office, or whether it was just because some of our players had great days and made them look bad. Because Chris Ogarnegay in midfield, I think, had his best game since he came back to the club by a mile. It looked like the prime Gay of it looked like the Gay we were seeing under Ronald Koeman in the first season. Do you know when we first bought him? He looked like that level of player. He was immense. He was everywhere. He did everything. He had a couple of moments where he lost the ball cheaply and caused a few nerves, but his tackling was immense. His marking was immense. Takore, has got back to being the player we all know he could be. Player he was under Ancelotti when we first signed him. He's another one. I don't know what's happened to his performances under Lampard, but he looks like he's got screwed his head back on. Even other players like Morpay, another player who's again hasn't really delivered for the club at all. Really, he had probably his best game for us as well in ages. Probably his best game since that game he scored in against West Ham. So I was happy with the result. I was very surprised though how poor Leeds were. And honest to God, unless they get a miracle worker, I think they're going right down. Either they need to massively pick up some of the players they've got in their team, or they need to get a manager who's top notch and knows what he's doing, a good firefighter. A Sam Allardyce in his prime, their own version of Sean Dyche. I don't know who this guy is, but they need a real.
They've been linked with Javi Gracia, haven't they?
They're getting linked with him and they're getting linked with Fat Spanish Waiter as well. I don't think either one of them keeps them up. Gracia, because I don't, he's decent.
He's all right. He's okay.
He's all right.
Real and he's all right.
Yeah. He's just he's a nomadic manager. He's not, he's not exactly terrible, but he's not exactly great either. He's managed to, here, there, and everywhere. He's done all right in most places, but he's not really pulled up any trees. Most people remember him in England from when he was at Watford. He took over Watford after Marco Silva was sacked, and we took him. He had one good season at Watford. Really, did he get them
to the cup final? He got to the cup final.
He got them to the cup final, and I think he got them to like 11th or 12th, which is which is well above where Watford normally finish when they're in the Premier League. He was the only Watford manager who those owners.
He kept him up for a while, didn't he?
He's the only Watford manager in recent history, I think, who stayed at Watford for more than 1 year. Normally, even before they were sacking managers, every 3 months, like they had done last season, they tended to change manager every summer anyway. It was just their club policy of their owners. They went through a few. They went through Materazzi. They went through that Kiko Flores Sanchez, whatever his name is. Then
Sanchez
they had,
Flores.
they had Silva, who was doing well, but then he had his head turned by us. Then they had Javi Gracia, and Gracia did so well in the first season. He thought, no, we'll let him build something, actually. And then it all went wrong in the second season. But he's getting linked with Leeds, but I don't think unless he's far better manager than I'm giving him credit for, I don't think he gets Leeds out of the mess they're in if they're going to perform like they did against us consistently. And Benitez, oh my God, if he goes there, mate, I'd be rubbing my hands together because they'll be down before the end of March. Benitez goes in there and does what Benitez does, which is just cause trouble everywhere he goes and starts far more fires than he puts out, if he puts any out at all whilst arrogantly dismissing his critics.
Yeah, well, obviously there's a long way to go, and I think it wasn't vintage Everton either. Let's be honest. Like I think like you said, a lot of it is owing to how poor Leeds perform. But you mentioned a few performances there. Like Ghana was good. I think the defense is still was quite solid. Like we didn't really get caused too many problems anyway. But like Coleman,
they didn't have a shot on target. No,
but Coleman was excellent, and I'm not like a big fan of the fact that Coleman's still about. I don't think obviously he's been hung out to dry a bit by the fact that he's still got to play at 34 on a regular basis, but he was excellent.
I think Coleman's at the age now where if he's going to play against a wide forward, a winger, whatever way you want to describe them, if you're going to put him up against someone like a Salah or a Darwin Núñez or a Mahrez for City or a Son for Tottenham, these top draw forward players who, even if they're not amongst the goals, they're really, really rapid, they're really strong, they're a nightmare for even fullbacks in their prime to deal with. Coleman's at the age where he just can't handle them anymore. But when it comes to dealing with, a couple of players who've got a pace and a couple of tricks, but are not altogether one trick ponies, that's a good phrase to use. Against players who maybe got a bit of pace, but they've only got one or two tricks in the bag, I think Coleman can still handle them. The likes of that, in whatever he's called,
Nonto.
The one you talked about. Nonto, yeah, the likes of Saha for Crystal Palace, and I like Saha, but has he ever had a good game against Everton when Seamus Coleman's playing? No. So Coleman's still got a use, but it's only against teams who are not going to be just. People know what I mean. I'm happy for Coleman that he got the winning goal
against lesser quality players, basically.
Yeah, he can still do a job against a bang average wide player in the Premier League, which is what most teams in the Premier League have got out wide, bang average players. He can't do it against the upper echelon players like he could 5-6 years ago. But his goal was, I think that is probably one of the most incredible goals I've ever seen at Goodison, and I've been going nearly 20 years. I thought it had gone behind the goal and just hit the
the stanchion or something.
The stanchion at the back, yeah. I saw the ball. I saw him just hit the ball across the box, and I thought, there's no one there. Do you know what I mean? He's just hit it and open for a corner or something, and it's not caught the defender. So it's just gone behind the goal, and the goalie will just come around and pick it up in a minute. And then it's like time stood still for like 2 or 3 seconds. I think the entire Gladys Street, at least the part of the Gladys Street that I'm in, GT4, just like couldn't believe what he'd just seen, that it had gone in. And I've seen every angle of it now from all the cameras, and oh my God, he'll never hit a ball sweeter in his career. That I'm trying to think of Coleman goals that from his career that could rival that. He scored a cracker a few years ago at the Gladys Street end. I think it was against maybe Southampton or somebody.
Southampton one, I think. In Martinez's first season.
No, I think it was under Marco Silva. It was when it was a game where he scored at the Gladys end and he started like cupping his ear because he was getting criticism, and there was one he did score under Martinez's first season. It was away at Swansea. It was an absolute belter from about 30 yards where he had no pass on, so he just decided to hit it, and it went straight in the top corner down at the Liberty Stadium. But that he certainly never scored a more important goal in his career, and I don't think he's ever caught a ball as sweetly as that in his career. The only two that could rival it that I can think of the top of my head is the one that he scored for us, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and one that he scored under Martinez. All his other goals tend to just kind of be little scruffy ones, goal, off a
Like the
set
one he
piece, you know,
scores
like
one
that.
against Leeds last year, where it was like a tapping on the line, wasn't it?
Yeah, just scruffy little goal mouth scrambles. Do you know what I mean? He's never really been a fullback that scores loads of goals, even in his prime, and he doesn't have to be. He's never been a set piece taker, has he? So he's never, for my money, been able to cross the ball effectively. But he says he shot. He said it was a shot, but I don't believe him. Do you know what I mean? But I'll let him have it. It was just a hit and hope. And you know what? It's about time something like that broke for us, because how many stupid, unlucky, fluky goals have gone in against us over the years in big, crucial games, and we've had to just swallow it. Mate, you'd be here till the end of the year listing them all off, and that's just going off the goals that have happened in the last couple of years in all the turmoil at the club. The amount of times where it just feels like the gods have conspired against us to help us lose. And for once, it's about time that we were on the other end of it, that we got a fluky goal, and it ended up affecting the result massively for the positive. So 3 points in the bag, we sorely needed it. We're out of the bottom three, but this next game at the weekend against Aston Villa is going to be a lot tougher, because Aston Villa are miles better than Leeds. And Aston Villa, I don't think, are an amazing side, but I think under this new manager, they've got Emery, that they're a very, very competent
Yeah,
side, and they'll give most
he's
teams,
a very, very good manager. I rate him as a
he is,
manager a lot.
he is, and they've got a lot of very good players. It tells you how terrible Steven Gerrard was, that he couldn't get a tune out of the likes of Ollie Watkins and the likes of Wednesday. These are players who will do a lot of damage if they're on form when they play us. So I'm hopeful that we can get that 3 points, because we can just do what we're doing under Dyche since he's come in, and just, work hard, be up and at them, get the fans on
It's got to
side.
be. I'll be honest. Let's be honest. We've just got to be ugly,
Yeah,
because that's how we won against Arsenal. That's how we won against Leeds. We didn't really do that against Liverpool, and that's why we
just
lost,
get
because
into them. Yeah,
we just got
get
to
into them, rough them
make
up,
it
make it
tight,
uncomfortable,
make it tight and
play the
horrible. It was.
percentages.
Let's call a spade a spade. That last game, the Leeds game, was one of the worst games of football. If it weren't for the importance of it, it would probably been last on match of the day. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I'm one of them. I don't care about the way a game played out, as long as they're good.
Oh, me
I'd
neither.
rather
It's
I'd,
done,
I'd
innit?
rather watch that game back in its that I'd rather watch that game back in its entirety than go back and watch a game where we lose 4-3 and we play some lovely stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't care what the style of play is. You work with the style of play which is most effective with the players you've got. And with the squad of players we've got, the only way you're going to get any results is just by making us rugged and making us, tough to beat and unfashionable. And that's what I think Sean Dyche is the right manager for. And all I care about is getting out of the trouble that we're in. And it's a long way to go, but we've made 2 massive steps forwards, and people need to just forget about the derby. Some of the overreaction to that was incredible. I know it hurts losing those games to them, and the performances left a lot to be desired, but even if we'd have played out of our skins, were we going to get a result against that Liverpool team with the players they had and the money that they've spent over the last few years and the manager they've got? No, surely not. So forget that now. If you'd have said to us before the Arsenal game, you're getting 6 points out
Oh, nine.
of the next 3 games. Six, yes, you're going to win 2 of your next 3 games, but the game you lose is to Liverpool. No one in their right mind would have sniffed at that. Everyone would have snapped your hand off.
Oh yeah.
So let's just move forward now, and let's get 3 more points against Aston Villa. Because as much as Aston Villa, as I've just said, are a much better side than Leeds, and it'll be a really hard ask to get anything out of them. I don't think a draw will be enough. If Southampton and Bournemouth are both just not won at the weekend, just gone, I think I would have took a draw against Aston Villa. But I don't think a draw is good enough now. I think we have to win again somehow, some way.
It is. It's just the only way, like you say, is it's going to have to make it ugly again. We're going to have to make we're just going to have to make so they can't play their game.
Um, I don't think Calvert Lewin's going to be fit for it. So I think the only way we're getting goals without Calvert Lewin in the team is, you can't rely on something fluky like that happening every. We're just going to have to work on the set pieces, I think, like we did against Arsenal, and like it nearly worked against Liverpool. Just work on the set pieces during the week. Make sure that you get bodies on the top of the goalkeeper, and when the ball comes in, just make sure you go up for it and you win every header that you possibly can. And hopefully luck will break for us again. Maybe Aston Villa will turn up and have an off day. Maybe they'll get the tactics wrong. Maybe we can get bit more luck, and we can, squeak it somehow. beat Aston Villa, please. We managed to beat
Yeah.
Leeds somehow, some way. Please beat Aston Villa, because if we
Grind it
do,
out. Let's
then that's another massive step forward. And if a month ago, mate, I was convinced we were gone. I'd said, even if we get Dyche now, it's too late. Prior to Arsenal, I thought, we're done. We're finished. All we can do now is have a bit of pride and make a fight of it. But now that we've won these 2 games, I believe again now we can do it. Long way to go, but I actually feel like we've got our
it's tough.
destiny in our hands again.
I'm still nervous, but
I hope
I
that
said,
kills you.
I said at the time when we hired Dyche, I said I think we're gone, but Dyche was our only hope of having a chance, and we've still got a chance because of him. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's back in our hands again now. Whereas I thought, the ship was already at the bottom of the ocean by the time we hired him. But if we can get 3 points against Aston Villa and make it 9 points out of 12, 3 wins out of 4, then, oh my God, it would feel like the finish line would be in sight. It would feel like we could actually, if we're out in the ocean, we can actually see land. Then we can see dry land, and we can be confident that we can make it. So I just really, really, really want that 3 points at the weekend, the same way I really, really, really wanted that 3 points that we just got last weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. But now I know it was a massive result for us on Saturday. That was a massive result for us to get that against. As I said before, it was already a 6 points of that. Let's be honest.
More than that, I think, because as I said, the emotion of it, the fact that we're out of the bottom 3 now. I know it's only for now. We could very easily drop back in it, and I think we are likely going to go back in the bottom 3 at some point before the end of the season, even if we do end up pulling it off. Just to get out the bottom 3 for the first time in months and just feel like we've got we're above the waterline again is just a massive relief for everyone. It should give everyone a lot more confidence and a much better feeling going into games, a lot less anxiety. We hadn't won that game against Leeds, we'd be going into this Aston Villa game with loads and loads of anxiety. We've still got anxiety now, but it will be considerably less because we're coming off the back of 2 wins.
Well, absolutely. But yeah, let's enjoy this because, I mean, I can't remember the last time we won 2 games out of 3. It's just that in
Yeah,
itself is
I can't remember. I can't
relieving.
remember the last time. I didn't go to the Arsenal game. Our Terry did, so I missed that one. But coming out of the Leeds game, mate, I forgot what winning at Goodison felt like.
Yeah,
Honestly, I was skipping all the way home and skipped all the way to town when I went out for a drink later on then that night, and I'll be skipping all the way home again if we beat Aston Villa. Please, please, please let it happen.
yeah. Oh well, fingers crossed. But for now, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll leave it at that one. Everton 1, Leeds 0. A really, really important result, as me and Paul have reiterated 100 times in this little 20-minute show, whatever it's been. It's the importance of it. We couldn't have understated. But let us know your opinions on the game. How happy you're feeling. I'm sure that if you're half as good as we are, get your comments coming in. Give this video a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in on the Toffee Blues.